Okay, this is the WHO, World Health Organization, what that stands for, International Study on HSV, Global Study on HSV in both 2013 and 2012. As you can tell, it dropped from 66.7% in Africa to 31% in Africa as far as the infection rate in a 9-year period. Now, move over here. We have Swaziland high percent change new infections from 2010 to 2014. It dropped by 40-something percent. Now, these are my references: Cdc.gov, avert.org, World Health Organization.int, in case you don't know who stands for, and University of Washington. Now, here's some information that I compiled on Swaziland and the United States. These are my metrics that I use. That's what that right there says, my metrics equations. Okay, now first you have the percent population living with HIV and HSV. As you can tell, it's 27% have HIV in Swaziland, times 90%, which comes from the Washington University study on HIV and HSV of 2006. And then that comes to 24% of the population is living with both HIV and HSV. HIV is AIDS. HSV is groin sores, or so-called genital herpes. Okay. In the United States, it's 0.6%, and by the 90% is equal to 0.54%. As you can tell, it hasn't spread as much in the United States, and I'll show you the reason why as we go through the equations. Now, percent HSV living with HIV. 24% live with both of them in Swaziland, divided by 31%, which is the amount of HSV victims in the general population, equals a 77.4% infection rate. That means that 77.4% of your HSV people are living with hive. That's the people with groin sores. 77% of them got hive, which causes AIDS. Now, in the United States, it's 0.54% are infected with the hive virus, and divide that by the 20% that are infected with HSV or groin sores, equals a 0.027%, which is very, very low compared to Swaziland. Now, 3, you have population not living with hive or HSV. You take the 100% of the population minus the 31%, which is the amount of HSV in Africa, equals 69%. In the United States, as you can tell, it's 100% minus 20%, which equals 80%. This is one reason why, in my opinion, there's such a low incident rate in the United States of HIV. It's because there's a low rate of HSV. Now here's 4. Percent population living with HIV but not HSV. In Swaziland, it's 27 minus 24 equals 3%. In the United States, it's 0.6 minus 0.54, which equals 0.06%. Percent population living without HIV is 100% minus the 27% that have it. In Swaziland, equals 73% don't have it at all. In the United States, it's 100% minus 0.6%, which is 99.4% of Americans do not have the HIV virus. Success rate. Success rate of this test based on these equations is 73% plus 24% equals 97% in Swaziland. Now, in the United States, it's 99.4% plus 0.5%, which equals 99.94%. Then the 7th equation is percent of population living with HSV but not HIV. In Swaziland, that's 31% minus 24% equals 7%. In the United States, it's 20% minus 0.5%, 4% equals 19.46%. Now, this figure here is why this particular figure here is why the United States came up with it being inconclusive that groin sores were easily identifiable, and it's impossible to determine if somebody had AIDS. But if you take that same equation and you look over here, it's interesting. It's only 7%. Where over here it's 19%. Another equation you use to determine that it was inconclusive that you might run into is this figure right here. 99.98%. But look over here. The success rate's 97%. That's my equations. Now, let's see if I can find the one I want to look at here. Let's look at this one right here. 24% have AIDS, 3% don't have AIDS and HSV. Now over here is 0.06%. Now, if you were trying to use groin sores as your means of detection, the 0.06% would be impossible to really determine anything. If I move over here, 3% are not living with HSV. Then you go on up here to this one right here, and this one's a real dead giveaway. Percent HSV living with HIV. In Swaziland, it's 77.4%. That's 3/4 of the population that has HSV, or the genital herpes, also has AIDS. Now let's go over here and look at the United States. Let's make sure we get the right one here. Let's see here. There we go. Let's go across. There it is. In the United States, it's 0.54%. So all that's got both diseases divided by the 20% of the population that has HSV is only 0.027%. No wonder the US CDC came up with an inconclusive. I would have too if I'd just studied the United States. Look at that. That's an impossibly low number. But when I study Swaziland, I get a completely different answer. Well, that's what I wanted to say. Thomas Wills out here. Have a good day.